Tomorrow on CBS Mornings, we've got part one of our exclusive two-part interview with rapper and business mogul Jay-Z. So he gave us a personal tour of the expansive Book of Hov exhibit at Brooklyn Public Library, which just so happens to be a couple of miles from where Jay-Z was raised. He reflected on growing up in Brooklyn's Marcy Houses with a family that loved music. Here's a peek.
It really all started
That's
here.
the beginning. Yeah, that's, 615 Lexington was the first house I lived in until I was 5 years old. But this is my home.
You have a visceral feeling, don't you, to that?
Yeah.
I mean, your mom was telling me a great story about you growing up. You would be up late in the kitchen just beating on the table, beats and music.
Yeah.
And she would say, you've got to go to bed. That's enough.
Yeah.
You knew, even as you were a young teenager, she said the whole house was always filled with music.
Yeah,
was
like
always
11.
filled with music.
Yeah, my mom and pop had a huge record collection. So they music all day long. We had like a makeshift wall unit where it was like two crates full of records. Then it was like a plywood.
Crates, yes.
The plywood.
Yes, I do,
Then
actually.
two other crates, another plywood. So
Yes.
they made a wall unit, and they had a reel-to-reel. Reel-to-reel was on top, an amp, then like a turntable, and I forget what's down on the floor. But we had a full system and just music all the time.
Yeah.
Part one of our wide-ranging interview with Jay-Z airs tomorrow right here on CBS Mornings. I know you're like me. Somebody stopped me on the street yesterday and said, Gayle, when is the interview going to run? Because we've been doing teases all week for a reason.
Yeah.
But part one airs tomorrow. But you can learn a lot, guys, when you sit next to somebody's mother. His mother and I were at an event recently, and I was asking her questions. She said when Jay was 4, he taught himself to ride a bike. She said she came home from work and she saw this kid riding his bike. She goes, that looks like Shawn. He had propped a bike up against the wall and taught himself how to ride a bike at the age of 4. So I always say he's not like the other kids in the class and hasn't been like the other kids in the class for a very, very long time.
No training wheels, huh?
Yeah, no. That's exactly right, Trika.
No
training wheels.
And if you listen to his music, he has taught himself a lot of things, especially in the business world.
Yes,
I mean, it's A Hard Knock Life is one of his most famous songs, and he talks about learning from the streets of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I know I'm biased, but he really is a genius
I agree.
on so many different levels, in so many different ways. And I'm really excited. The piece is still in edit. We're still massaging it, but it'll be ready tomorrow, and I can't wait.
We're doing it right. We're teasing it properly. I mean, you are dropping more trailers in a Marvel movie, but it's worth it. You know what I'm saying?
I know, Nate. I know. It's a little shameless. I know.
No, I'm looking forward to it. He's one of my favorite artists and businessmen.